Hey guys, it's John, JRB Tree Climbing, and now jrbtreeclimbing.com. I owe you a status update on the JRB Hitch Climbing Method. Before we get started, let's make sure we're good on terminology. A climbing system, like the JRB Climbing System, is something that I use to climb with potentially multiple climbing methods. So I introduced the JRB Climbing Method, which is a stationary doubled rope technique, not anticipating I would have introduced a second and independent method. But I have, and that's what we're calling the JRB Hitch Climbing Method. That's what we're going to be working on today. It uses the very same climbing system, the JRB Climbing System. The hallmark feature of this method is it's a rope-based method to climb a tree that doesn't involve the use of a throw ball. In fact, doesn't require anything but your JRB climbing system, that's a rope with friction hitches, and the JRB garter hitch foot loop. We've got some new hitches in the system, and we'll talk about those. There's prerequisite knowledge, but it's all here on my channel. That includes tying the saddle hunter's hitch, tying the JRB hitch, tying the JRB Ascender Hitch in bridge mode and soft bridge mode. Okay, so there have been several changes since the last video, and please make sure you watch that for perspective. And the first change is that I no longer need carabiners on my bridge loops. Instead, I'm going to use a short bridge. I just introduced a video which showed how I tie a non-mechanical adjustable bridge. In fact, I have two of them on my system. It works really well as a suspenders, by the way. So this is my long bridge, and I'm wearing that as suspenders, and my, holds my saddle up. This is my long bridge. I generally don't need to move that much. So I'm going to take that, and I am going to put it out of the field of view, just so we don't get confused, keep things as clean as possible. And then let's talk about my short bridge. So here's my short bridge, and I run it there, or maybe a little bit longer. That's where I'd run it. Well, we are going to be engaging this as short as possible, and we're going to put two carabiners on it. So I am going to put a second carabiner on that bridge, and then I am going to shorten it basically to a loose belt. We want that as short as possible because we're going to want to get really close to the tree. Okay, so that's the first major change. The second change is, because of this, I no longer need that little yellow tending loop that I had on the first video. Excuse me. Next point is, I will be using, instead of that hard bottom foot loop, I'm just going to use my JRB garter hitch foot loop, but I'll be running it a different way. So if you recall, if you build one of these, there's a dedicated video for it, you put your foot in it, it comes up right at the top of your waistline. Well, if you've got it rigged properly, you take this end loop, put it through the carabiners, and you could put a foot or 2 feet through that, like so. I can put my feet through there, and that's my foot loop. Okay, I'm going to leave that on my feet and continue to move on. All right, so next, let me throw a saddle hunter's hitch up on the tree. So I've got my rope all prepared. I've got several feet on either side from the friction hitches. Let's get that up on the tree. There's some technique there, and if it doesn't stick on your first throw, no problem. I'll try to keep that beaner out of my way and orient it upwards. So if you watched the last video, I had a pair of Michoacáns. Well, now I just have a JRB Ascender in soft bridge mode. So I use this to climb using my normal method. This rappel ring is my handle, right? That's a friction hitch. I pull this through to run it in in bridge mode. And that's going to be my point attachment to the rope. And so now I'm going to attach myself to that JRB Ascender in bridge mode. I orient it in this fashion, get my carabiner, and I make sure that I'm going to engage both the rope and the friction hitch. So I've got the rope and both sides of the friction hitch. Below, I've got another JRB Ascender in soft bridge mode, and that is going to go onto my foot loop. Now, this is key. I'm not using, this is a garter hitch foot loop, but I'm not using it as a garter hitch. I'm just using that carabiner like a carabiner. Okay, so stay tuned. We go to the other side of the system because I will be climbing on both sides, and I will do the same thing. I'm going to rig this up just so I can maximize all my rigging here on the ground. And I'm going to tie that into my other carabiner. So those two beaners, both of them are engaged. And similarly, I'll make sure that the other beaner on my foot loop, so I'm attached on both sides ready to climb. I've got these beaners over on my, this could be an S beaner, it's actually a climbing beaner, but what I do here is I just want to keep my ropes out of the way. So on my lineman's loop, I will tuck that away, and I'll do the same thing on the left side out of view from you, because I want to have my feet on the tree with nothing in the way. And so here's the climb. See what's happening here? I'm pulling up on this rope, and that soft bridge mode on the JRB Ascender acts effectively like the garter. So I don't need the garter hitch. So I'm up about as high as I can get. And so now, this is the last and very important difference. Instead of continuing to climb by throwing another garter hitch on this side and then having to kick through all that slack, I'm switching sides. I'm going to throw my next garter hitch on the tree on this side. I'm sorry, my next saddle hunter's hitch on the tree. And I'm going to switch sides. So I'm very comfortable here. No active heroic strength. Get that high as we can. Now if there's any twists or overlap in the saddle hunter's hitch, no problem. It doesn't affect its integrity. So now that's slack. I'm going to load this. Pull the slack through. And now I have loaded my upper saddle hunter's hitch, and this one can come off the tree. I've just executed a transfer. And because my ropes are all clean, nothing has gotten bunched up by my feet, right? I've got this all away from the tree. So I'm going to continue to climb, but now I'm on the right side. Could do this with one foot. It's just a little more comfortable with two. When I put this hitch up, I always leave just enough room to get my fingers there to break that if I need to. I'll get every inch I can. Now, I repeat. I will throw another saddle hunter's hitch on the tree using the other side of the rope, switching back. Now, nice thing here is if there was a branch in the way, you know, depending on the height, but you can always bypass. You can always bypass anything that's in your way. And you're always tied in the whole time with zero slack. You need enough rope to ensure, just like the JRB climbing method, get enough rope so that both sides are touching the ground when you get to your top position. Okay, so now, same deal. We're going to take the slack out of this side. Okay, as much as I can do. And now, as I sit and load this, this becomes unloaded. And I can remove it from the tree. Get the slack out. All right, let's do another move. Let's do another move, and then we'll rappel. By getting that beaner on the rope here, it holds me really close, so I don't need that little tending loop anymore. And the JRB Ascender Hitch, I have no use for anything else anymore. Okay, so I could keep going and just keep on going as long as I've got rope touching the ground. But what we're going to do now is I'll execute my last hitch, and that'll be the JRB hitch. So here we go. This is the loose side. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove that from my lower bridge. Just going to remove it because it's going to be accepting my main bridge. And let's get as high as we can here. And let's set our JRB hitch. Now it's very important that you know your hitches. My JRB hitch is a quick release hitch. I set it and I lock it. It can't be released accidentally. And at this time, disengage everything, all this stuff. Now I'm going to load my primary bridge, right? I had hid that from you. We're going to load So now I get everything loose, remove my secondary bridge completely. Get my feet out of the loop. So this would be a hunting position. I've got both lines all the way touching the ground. This would be a hunting position. I might have already affixed my platform if I used one, and I'm good. I can stay here indefinitely. When it's time to rappel, my favorite way to rappel is the Munter friction hitch, and I'm all set up to do that here. So let's go ahead, put it on my lower bridge. I double check, everything's good, everything's loose. I can remove my locking biner from my JRB hitch. And this is a property of no other friction hitch I'm aware of, where I can break the JRB Ascender hitch with my full body weight on it. I can break it with one hand. Now I've loaded now I'm down safely, and of course the JRB hitch being a quick release hitch, I just pull on this and everything comes on down. Okay, so now that wasn't perfect, but we're a one-take kind of operation here at JRB Tree Climbing, and I just wanted to give you an idea what I've been up to. I've used this several times in real hunting situations. I used it once to retrieve a lost throw ball, and I've used it dozens and dozens of times in practice climbs before this video. And so I don't think I've got a lot more to grow this. You may see some tweaks, but the real interest has come from hunters who would like to see how can we rig up a hitch climbing system that doesn't need to be part of the JRB climbing system. Can we come up with a dedicated hitch climbing system where we can climb to a normal hunting height? So let's say we want to get to 25 feet, let's say we want to tie in at 30, and we want to do all of that and only need 40 feet of rope. I think that's possible. I haven't done it yet, but it'll be a different system. So I'll basically be taking a brand new piece of rope and rigging it differently. So let's make that the next project. Okay guys, thank you very much.